Hey everybody, this is Sean with DG3DBIM. What I wanted to do today was show a project that we are working on down in Pebble Beach, and a contractor, superintendent friend of mine um, needed to have a topo map of the property. This is not for, this is just for their landscaper and people working on site. So what we did is we did a scan of the property. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom you in here. And so you can see the full point cloud as we went within the property line here. You'll see the front of this house over here. I'm not sure how far away that is, but it's pretty far. We've got the house, portions of the house in the back, behind the property, and both to the right and the left. And the reason I wanted to show this is kind of give you an idea of how much data is being captured by the scanner when we link all these scans together. Really good detail brought in. One of the things I want to show you, we have a thing called a bounding box, which this takes the full point cloud, and we can bring. Actually, I'm going to turn on this one little thing. This is kind of cool. Highlighted edges. So as the bounding box penetrates the point cloud, you'll see how things are going to start turning red. That's the area as it's penetrating. One of the things that's kind of cool is you can see as we penetrate this main structure and we're into the walls, you can see how we have a perimeter footprint of the full property. A lot of times what we'll do is people want to have interior walls, check the thickness of walls, check a structure for square, what the footprint actually is. We'll scan the interior of the house and the exterior, and then we can do a slice like this and actually check thickness of walls, and we can also do vertical slices through the structure. So real quick, I'll show you that. We bring this guy up like that, and say we bring, let's bring it up a little bit higher, and we grab, let's grab this back area here. Okay, so we bring in this, the back part of the bounding box in here, and we'll turn that the highlighted edges back on. And as we look through the structure, I'm going to move that guy in. You can see we can see the height of the walls, because the scans were just from the perimeter. A lot of the roof wasn't captured because we weren't able to actually grab that. And a lot of times what we'll do is we'll fly the drone over the top of a structure if we want to get the roof, so we don't end up with the holes. And we'll take the point cloud data from the drone flight and generate a point cloud of the roof line. Typically, when we do the inside, you'll see what looks like the roof, but it's actually the projection of the ceiling on that outer structure. So unless we shoot a drone flight, you won't get the interior ceiling and the roof. So let me zoom back out here real quick. So what I did is I turned off the bounding box. What I want to do is do a quick little fly through here of the full point cloud and show what information is available. One of the things that we wanted to do in this topo map is we also wanted to show the base of all of these major trees and then the height of those trees. And what I can do is I can go back in with the measuring tools, and I can measure from the base of the tree up to the height of those, and that's what we'll end up doing to give the species and the height of a lot of these major trees. There's some pretty good sized trees here, so you can see there's a lot of points in this point cloud. I think this one's somewhere around 7 million points. And so one of the first things that we'll do on a project like this is we'll go in and because we're going to be getting a lot of information from this point cloud, and it stresses the computer out a little bit to have all these extra points. So what we'll do is what we call a point. We'll clean up the point cloud, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause the video here for a second because it takes a little while to switch from one to the other. But I'll show you the first phase of what we did. We've got the street down here, but one of the first things that we did was clean up this lower area and then start working our way up. So let me pause this guy for a second. So here you can see we just got rid of the neighbor across the street, the ones on the two sides, got closer to the fence line, and cleaned up the street here, so you can look down the street. And that's going to be part of our topo map too, as we actually show the curvature and the fall in the street here in relationship to this is kind of the low part in the property here, which you'll see in the topo map here in a little bit. But so we can actually go through, and you can see these little spheres. These are those are the locations of the where each one of the scan locations was, and we can go back and we can look at the actual photograph that the camera takes at each one of those locations. So you can see that that's a 360. What the scanner does is it takes a 360-degree dome photograph at each one of those locations, and then we can in a separate program we can bring in that photograph, click on the photograph because the point cloud is actually behind that photograph, and we can actually pull really accurate dimensions. We can do that in this program, pull dimensions in this program too. But you can see all the bases of these trees. Once we went through and cleaned all these outer points, which are the tree, you'll see the base of the tree, which is just a hole in the scan. But we obviously need to get rid of a lot of that information when we want to start doing the topo map. So I'm going to pause this guy for a second and then jump to one of the other sections where we cleaned up the point clouds. Let me pause this guy for a second. Okay, as you can see, we after quite a few hours of cleaning up, we got rid of a lot of noise from this scan. This one still, I thought I jumped to the last one, but there's still quite a bit of work that needs to be done here, but this is good to show it in this state. See, when you look across, you're still seeing fences, and the big thing is a lot of this foliage. And what has to happen for us to do the topo map, we have to cut as many of these shrubs down, bases of the trees as close to the ground as we can. The reason for that is when we go to create a surface off of this will create noise. But one of the things that happens is when we go in here and we clean up the point cloud, we create a boundary around a group of points and delete those. Those are gone. We can't get those back. So we have to very carefully go in here, and with the bounding box, we will create cross sections where we can. Because if I go to remove the base of this tree, but my clipping box goes into the ground here, those points that are projected to that ground there will disappear or will be deleted also. So we have to go in and create the bounding box where all you see is there's nothing in the background there. So we're just removing the tree. We're just removing these shrubs. All that kind of stuff. So it's pretty time consuming, so that you don't lose data that you want to keep, but you want to get rid of as much noise as possible. So anyway, you can see the property here, and you can also see the bases of a lot of trees. Here's a tree stump there. There's one over there. There was a pretty good size one over in this area here. There's a couple back here we still haven't cleaned up. There's a good size one here. But anyway, so that was just to show shows we're a little farther along. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this guy again. And you can see that this looks like we're looking at the back side of the fence, but what this actually is the points that have been projected to this side of the fence. So this side here, this is what we're looking at, but what you're looking at from here is just a projection of those points because we didn't scan this side of the fence. So anyway, I'm going to pause it again for a second here and get to the next stop. Okay, so this section of this video is just to show you the cleaned up cloud and what we're going to use to generate the topo map. So as I come up through the bounding box, you can see the cloud, and actually it's in level plane right now. So you can see as I'm raising up, those are what we're going to generate our topo lines from. Up the upper piece of the property. So let me turn this guy off real quick. This here's our back fence. What we've done is we've very carefully gone around the perimeter of the structure and clipped away. In this layer, we've clipped away the house where it meets the ground level, and we took the area over here. Let me bring this guy back. So the main structures here in the carport where all of the there was some cabinetry and some appliances and stuff stacked in here, and this is, John had said, the foundation that's going around there. That's where the new garage is going to be. So you'll see in the topo map that you'll see the contours of the driveway coming up, and then where it levels off up here where the turnaround going into the garage is. We went ahead and did our topo through the shed that's up here, took the shed out, and so let me start showing. I'm going to pause it here for a second and start bringing in the topo map. So a couple of things that we went ahead and did is we identified where the slab is, this curb, the walkway, the walkway leading up to the stairs where the front door is. So we generated all that flat work. There's so we've got the perimeter foundation. So what we did is we created a ground level at the floor height. So I'm going to pause this and then bring in that. We took that over to another program to generate the topo map and the structure based off of the point clouds. Let me pause this guy real quick. Okay, in this next section here, you're going to see the obviously this is the topo map. This is all of these lines were generated from that cross section, like I just showed you when I was bringing the bounding box up through the property. And this structure here, this is a model. Let me go into perspective mode here, so you can see this is the footprint of the house. This is the flat work. I didn't draw the stairs in there. And then this is the concrete area off of what is going to be the master bedroom. And so these locations here, these purple areas, those are the bases of the trees. That's the back section of the property. I'm going to bring in tomorrow morning. I'll bring in the actual fence lines. I didn't have that yet, but what I wanted to show you here. Let me bring this layer, bring this guy down. So as we, turn this guy on. So here we are. So we've got our cross sections of through the point cloud generating the topo map, and as we turn those guys on, you'll see these are the, let me turn on a couple more of those. Let's go to Topo 5, 6, 7. As I start turning on, this program doesn't handle this is the 3D modeling program, but this one doesn't handle the point clouds as well. It really slows it down. So I'm not going to turn on all the layers. but actually I'll turn on 11. So you can see the upper part of the property there, where the fence line is. But let me turn off a couple of these guys, these lower ones. Let's turn off 7 and 8's off. Let's turn off 6 and 5. So now I can move around a little bit. So when we go into this view here, you can see here's the actual concrete. And actually, let me see if I can find that layer, because it's pretty cool how the 3D model in a ghosted mode shows that. Let me find that. I'm going to pause this real quick. All right, so I'm going to conclude this video by showing this is a great view, because we have our 3D model parts, and then we also have the point cloud, where you can see there's this elevated dirt patch area here, which is probably where you guys can do some flat work. We've got the existing slab out here, which is right outside of the master bedroom, and we've got there's a little swale in here, which is probably a drainage from this backyard, where you can see where the low spot is. But then when you take a look at these guys, let me turn off 9. It's a little hard to move this thing around, but as we look at all these different, let's zoom back out. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn off there. That helps. So as we come up the driveway into the turnaround area for the garage, you can see these are the heights. And so these guys will, when I send you the CAD file, you'll see the elevations of all these different levels. They'll be marked, and we'll actually put the canopy and the height of each one of these trees that's located in there too. So anyway, sorry for the length of this video. A lot of information to cover. Pretty exciting stuff. I think this is going to help out a lot of people, and anyway, a lot of fun doing this. So anyway, have a great evening. Talk to you soon.